Hello, everyone, and welcome to this by-election series of Inlay Terms. I'm your host, Payman Ascari, and we got two fantastic PPC candidates slash former candidates here. First up, it's Michel Lachance. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm no longer a candidate, so I'm not running around busy like you two gentlemen. Michel, I think we're struggling
Well, I've heard a lot
some
of good
audio
things about the
delay.
show, so I couldn't wait to come see you.
Oh well, no, thank you. As I was saying for the audience, we might have some audio delays, but we'll try to power through that. We also have with us Andy,
Yep.
former. You're still PPC, but you're not running in any by-election right now, correct?
Yeah, not. I've already done that. I ran in the university Rosedale riding, and you were able to interview me there. But my home riding is here at Topico North. So right now there's no by-election in this riding, and yeah, I'm supporting Michelle as much as I can. I have a bit of time on my hands right now, and yeah, I think we all have to do our part to help get the word out because people don't really know so much about the PPC out there in the general public.
No, absolutely. And let's start with you, Michelle. Let's treat this like an all candidates meeting. Give me your opening speech. Tell the audience a little about yourself.
Well, born in the beaches. Basically, I have worked in many different fields, but recently most is in mechanical engineering, working on aircraft and stuff. And this writ came down regarding the beaches East York, and they were looking for candidates. I got an email saying we're searching for somebody to do this, and can anybody help? And I thought, well, I live in Scarborough. I used to live in the beaches when I was growing up. When I was born there, and I thought, well, I'm living in Scarborough. I can't possibly run for that. So I thought that works for checks and all the things that you have to jump through to do what we're doing. Yeah, so I was very happy to be nominated. We went around. Actually, Andy was with me and a few other associates. And I was on the ballot. It was an amazing thing. I've always wanted to get into politics, but I just never had that opportunity to do it. It was I'd love to do it, but how do you do it, right? And it's as simple as answering an email. I mean, who would have thought? I wasn't even thinking. I thought, I'll say yes, but we'll see what happens. And here I am, 3 weeks later, walking around every street in the beaches, East York, right? So meeting people that I've never met before, and it's a great place. I mean, it's the friendliest place that I've been, bar none. And everybody's very welcoming, and they've got their Canadian flags flying. They do, especially if it's representing them.
Sorry, I caught the end of that. We had some audio issues, but Michelle, one follow-up question. Do you have you ever run for office before? I know when I ran, I had no political experience.
Oh, no. No, never ran for office before. I mean, I understand the Canadian political system. I understand what I've learned growing up in school and how Parliament works and all the ins and outs of what's expected in the protocol and all that stuff. But I've never really thought about running, as per se for Parliament. So to me, it's just an opportunity to give back what the country has given me. I mean, I've been here for over half a century now, so it's really given me back a lot of stuff. And I thought this is my opportunity to give back to the people and do something, and be the voice for the people in the beaches, East York. And I just don't want to call it that title because these are people. I talk to all of them, they're all friendly people and they've got their concerns, and I'd love to be able to speak for them because I'm not a yes man or a no man. I just give you the answer that the constituents say, right? I don't know if
Andy,
that's
no, that's fine. Andy, you're out there volunteering with him as well. I guess you're door knocking with him. Is that correct?
Yeah. So when I heard, Nathan, the manager for PPC, was looking, and I tried to help with passing on some names, and right away got on it to start to get signatures as soon as we knew that Michelle accepted. But yeah, so I got out there to help, just cold knock on doors in the communities and to get signatures. But it was such a pleasure to meet Michel, because he's just like one of us, a regular working Canadian who is seeing that things are not well in this country and wants to do something, good for the community where we live, or close to where we live, and for the country. So it's like a fellow, I would call a Canadian patriot who yeah, you see the flag on the background. Yeah.
I knew you were
So,
going to go there.
I mean, you can't, and knocking on doors, you see people are lost. They feel like they don't have any choice anymore. So, and all these, political people are like elites that feel they lord over us instead of serving us. And Michelle really comes across as someone who's looking to help the community, asking the questions, and looking to represent it. And that's what it should be. It should be someone who's there for the people. And yeah, they might have a certain leaning in terms of what they think is right for the country. And there's a lot of big issues that we're facing. But I think, yeah, Michel has his head screwed on properly, and there's no ulterior motive, behind him that's saying, okay, do this or do that. He's just independent and sensible guy, and has experience in business and all that, and trying to, make a living here in the country. So I was really happy to support him, and we've gotten along very well, and the synergies are there, and yeah, just the same as, when you meet Max Bernier, it's the same thing. You can see the experience he has, and it makes it, it inspires you to help out. So I'm inspired more to do what I can, and I'm asking him, okay, let's get some more cards. I want to go walk the streets. But anyway, so that's
And Max did call me when I first got nominated, and it was like, oh my God, it's Max. You know what I mean? It's like, it's him. Oh, gee, hi. So,
It's like you're in high
it
school
was
and a
in
girl
French.
calls you, you get nervous.
Yeah, it was in French, of course, but it was like, wow, I'm talking to the guy. It's like, so it was very inspirational. At least, it pushed me forward just to hear his voice and to welcome me aboard, and to, like Andy said, I am a founding member. Like I joined in 2018ish, around there. And yeah, so I've always been a PPC person. I've always voted for them. I've always been, their how should I say, their platform has been exactly where I've been aligned. But it's just as life goes on, right? So when he called me, it was kind of like, oh man, like, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm actually doing this, so it's good. Pardon
Michelle?
my enthusiasm.
No, it's fine. I'm sure the audience appreciates that. So you were a founding member, and you
Yes.
just said that you always supported the People's Party. What is it
Yep.
about the philosophy of the party that drew you to it?
Well, if I'm going to be completely honest about that, it is the fact that we're treating each other like we're meant to be treated, like with respect. And, these are the things that are important. We've all got our honor. We can't break that honor. That's all we have, and once you lose that, you lose a lot of things. And that's really important to me. And I found that the party itself stood for that, and treated issues with that respect, regardless, win or lose. It doesn't matter, win or lose. It's more about, are we doing the right thing? At the time when we're doing this, is this the right thing to do right now? And if everybody agrees, well, then we're going to do this. Sure, information may come out later on that is not, can change that, but at least we're doing the right thing right now. So that's all I can do. Go door to door and say, here we are. I'm the candidate. I want to work for you guys. Let me know if there's anything you guys need. I'm available. I'll be in the streets. You can drive around and you'll probably see me.
Andy, I guess sort of the same question to you is what was it about the party that drew you to it? The philosophy, the principles, the policies?
Well, I guess the main thing, I was wanting to do something politically, feeling with, anyways, the years of Trudeau and really made you kind of animated to get out there. And I did look into the Conservative Party, and to be honest, I'm not a founding member. I didn't know about the PPC really. I heard of them, but I probably heard a lot of the slander against Max Bernier and stuff. So I sort of didn't want to even delve into that, knowing that there's all this words going back and forth. But it took actually experiencing the CPC, trying to become a candidate for the CPC, where you realize how the candidate there's no fair process there. The candidates are selected. Their candidate selection procedure has so many caveats in it where they can disqualify anyone or make it so that you're not going to participate in a free vote among the members. So it's really, and it's not only myself, I've heard it from other people as well. But I guess I'm talking back on the 2025 election, as we got close to the election, I sort of started seeing, what the Conservatives were doing. It's they failed in so many ways, and I started to have less able to give excuses to them on why they're doing that, why are they doing this, and it just became another excuse, another thing to try and figure out why they're doing this. They're not really they're conservative in name only, and so when I found the PPC and I actually read their policy document and everything, that's been the same since day one. Maybe they've updated a bit, but it's pretty much along the same lines. And it just opened my eyes. I said, wow, I didn't see this. And it was because of that impact of media or whatever I was hearing that I didn't actually make the effort to look into it. So, that's sort of, what pushed me to it. And now, I mean, I think the same thing is happening with the Conservatives. They're still conservative in name only. There might be a few good people in there, but I'm starting to doubt, because there's so many things that are happening that they're being compromised or undermined, and they're maybe one or two are left that are actually with the Conservative Party.
I want to pick up on what you said, and I want to go to Michel. Andy was talking about the Conservative Party in general. Like, how would I phrase this? Why did you not run for the Conservative Party? Why did you choose the People's Party over the Conservative Party? What's your grievance?
Well, I'd have to say that they're left of center now. They may be conservative compared to the Liberals, but when you have left and right and you have center, they're actually left of center. And I find that the PPC is right of center, very conservative in that sense. And when I say conservative, I don't mean you can't do anything. I mean doing the right thing and making sure the right people are in the right places. I mean, all these, there's one part of the platform with the DEI and all these different equity things. And yes, okay, I can understand that there's different cultures and everything, but really you need the right person in the right job. You can't have somebody who's not qualified for the job to do the job and expect it to be, this is it, this country's great, everything's fine. It's not. And it's not any fault of the person. I mean, the person may have, for whatever reason, qualified in the DEI scheme of things, but not in the actual what's required for the actual task at hand. And to me, that's where we've gone short. DEI was introduced in the States, and it kind of moved over here through financial circles and what have you, and now it's kind of trying to take residence in places, but it doesn't work. You're not putting the right people to do the right job. That's the way I see it. And I don't mean to ruffle feathers, because the truth has to be said. And to springboard off of what Andy was saying, sure, I looked at the Conservatives to address your question, but as I said, they're left of center now, as far as I'm concerned. It's like, well, where is the Conservative part of the Conservatives? Where is it? And I don't see them. Like, we have all these people in office right now complaining about south of the border. Well, where's the meetings? Why are they not? Is it not a priority? Is Canadians' welfare not the priority? There's so many things. I mean, we're just scratching the surface here, but there's so many issues that are going on that really don't benefit Canadians at all. So I'm concerned that, this seat in particular, and the other two in BC and Quebec, okay, will give the Liberals the majority they need to make any decision they want anytime. So what? They're going to take our inheritance? What? They're going to take certain things and nobody can do anything about it? If I have to, I'll run everything to the ground and leave everything on the field to get this riding, because I don't want them to have unfeathered access to everything that Canada is. I want to be able to do what my constituents say. That's it. Easy. It's not rocket science or anything like that. It's just what they need. The people that vote me in, I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to see them all the time. I'm going to say, so how are things? What's your most important dilemmas or issues or whatever? And I need their voice so that I can speak on their behalf. And if they laugh at me in Parliament, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, but I'm speaking for my constituents. And if they don't see that, nothing I can do about it, right?
So let's. Did you want to follow up, Andy?
I could give another example just quickly.
Sure.
Like just on the Conservative is the issue on supply management. So if you think about supply management, that sounds really like communism to me, right? If they're managing the supply as opposed to, demand supply, which is inherent, and so that's a big one. I didn't hear about that really, and I think it was portrayed to me as protecting our farmers. But when you look at it and when you talk to people, so there was one resident when I was grabbing signatures for Michel. She was an older lady, and she used to live in, I think, Perth County, and farmland, and she knew exactly what I was talking about when I mentioned supply management, because she knew about the milk getting poured down the drains, and the farmers are not able to sell their products because of this. So it's not benefiting little family farms. It's just benefiting the big banks and the mega farms that are advantage. And then on the secondary side, they sell their product. I've seen it. These big tankers, 50-foot tankers of milk going to factories like Lactalis, for example, which is a Belgian company, and all those products you find them at Costco. So really, you're not benefiting Canadians. You're benefiting the oligarchs out there, and the Conservatives are supporting that. And Carney is doubling down and trying to negotiate like with the U.S. They actually mentioned that as one of the sticking points, the dairy cartels and stuff. But they're doubling down. They're going to support protect that to the detriment of our other industry, like our wood or metal, aluminum, steel industries. So they're not. I don't know. It doesn't make sense that Conservatives are not at all pushing back on these things. It's only the PPC that's realizing that.
I agree.
So,
no, I also agree, and I noticed this as well. Like the Conservative Party has this romantic involvement with the dairy cartel, and I can't figure out why. But sort of on that issue of supporting what matters to Canadians, Michel, let's switch over to policy. We'll go Michel first, and then Andy, you can jump in. What is your position on immigration and multiculturalism for the campaign?
Well, we need to obviously slow it down because everybody notices that there's just so much of it. And I'm not saying that because I don't appreciate immigration. Of course, we need immigration. Every country has people that leave, people that come, people that die, people that are born. You know, like it's a continuous cycle. But we have to focus on which one, again, back to the right person for the right job, which one of these immigrants will be beneficial for our country, as in what skills are they bringing in. It's not just a, a beneficiary immigration. You know what I'm saying? It seems that a lot of people are here with no real direction in mind. They're just, you know, getting funds off the coffers and basically not doing anything productive. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but right now, I just think there are too many people coming in for the systems that we have, the hospitals, like even the TTC. I did a survey for that the other day. You know, all these services are being taxed by the level of. We never expected to get to 40 million people in like 5-10 years. You know, it used to be 23, 27, and then it just skyrocketed. And then, I mean, where's that going to go? And there's no houses being built. There's no, it appears, you've got condominiums and what have you, but that doesn't seem to me a good place to I don't know, if you want to raise your family there, that's fine. But it just seems like we could do better, I think. And we're not doing the best job. I think we should be more, with the size of the government that we have, it should be more restrictive in the sense of people coming in. They should be looking at these people and saying, well, why are you here? I remember, like, I traveled to Australia and New Zealand, and they always ask me, why are you here? Right? I mean, that's a basic question. And I mean, if you just say, oh, okay, that's fine. Like, I mean, it's a serious question. You got to know what these people's intentions are. And and now we're finding out that they're living in smaller communities and building what they had back home here. And it's not what we want. We want them to integrate into our society. We have a Canadian entity. Just because there's no name for it, just because nobody says anything, doesn't mean that we're not Canadian. I'm Canadian because I know I'm Canadian, and there's a way we act, there's a way we do things, there's a way that we expect things to be done the right way, right? And these people seem to think, oh, we're just going to live in our own little communities and live like we did back home. Well, that's not how this is supposed to work. You're supposed to come here and learn our ways, learn what it's like to be respectful for other people, learn what it's like to help other people, and all these things that Canadians do naturally. We don't even think about it. It just happens. It's like, I can open the door for you, no problem. It's a simple thing, but it starts at those little building blocks, and they've got to come here and become that way for all of us. And if they do, that's great. That's what I'm looking for. But right now, I'm not really seeing it. So that's just, I mean, again, that's my personal opinion, which means nothing to my constituents because I work for them. Whatever they say, whatever they believe, whatever they want in Parliament, that's where I would go and give their message. I mean, you're asking me what I think. It really has nothing to do with the beaches, East York, in my opinion, because I work for them.
No, it's a good answer.
You're asking me, right?
No, I like it. It's like an integration, assimilation. You come here,
absolutely,
you adopt our values.
Yeah.
What about you, Andy? Do you want to follow up? Anything you want to add?
Well, I agree. I do think that integration part is not happening anymore. I remember when, as a youth, I was involved in some youth summer camps and stuff like that. And I remember one guy, and we ended up becoming good friends. But he came from India, from Goa, and and he was like recent coming over. They immigrated with his mom, and they were working hard to try. The mom was working hard to try and establish themselves and stuff like that. But he was there, and I just remember, we had mealtime. It was like cafeteria style at Queen's University, actually, and he would like pile on the stuff on his plate as if he's never eaten before, and I saw, just I go, well, man, just maybe, be a bit more, careful of what you're doing. And, but, eventually, like, cause I kept in touch and we became good friends, and you saw, like, I brought him skating, like taught him how to skate. I remember like almost breaking my back trying to hold him up, but, I don't think he ever became a good skater, but I know he got married and he has a son and stuff like that. And his son was involved in hockey, and stuff like that. So he wanted to become a Canadian, and he integrated, and and he realized how things are done here, and respect for others, respect for the environment is important. But he had that opportunity to integrate with others who, I was. Right now I'm helping even with the church, newer immigrants that are coming, and like families, young families. So they need help to get started, and we help them out with furniture and setting things up in their home, and getting links for jobs and all that. So it takes a lot of work. Like one parish can't do 10 families. They can do one family in a year, and to properly do that. So there's a lot of good organizations out there, but they're all overwhelmed, and now even our food banks are overwhelmed, and people are just not getting integrated. And so you're doing a disservice also to those people, because they're fed a certain idea of what Canada is, and then they end up getting into these ghettos and just doing what they did before in their old previous country. And I think Maxime is on the ball. Some people might take offense to what he says, but someone has to say it, and you can't dance around it. If we're using the same hospitals, they haven't grown, doubled in size with the amount of population. So the services for everybody are diminishing, and just everything. You just look at the public transit and all that. Although they're trying to build it up, but it's never enough. It's like they can't keep up with the amount of immigration. And it's a shame, because many parts, even if you go up north, camping and stuff like that. I mean, I've been with many. I used to carpool with a guy, he was Sikh background, and very respectful people. But then you start seeing these videos of people that are not that respectful. So I think that respect is gained because they've integrated, and they want to be Canadian. And they keep their, whatever their custom, their food or religion and all that. But that's what Canada is. People who are proud to be Canadian, but they're also, they don't lose everything. It takes a while before you lose your whatever your customs and all that, your food preferences and all, and that's great. Like I remember working downtown and enjoying going out for different ethnic foods and stuff like that. So we help each other in that regard. But
I think Michel, you wanted to jump in and say something?
Yeah, I mean, what Andy was saying is absolutely correct, and I'm not saying no immigration. I'm saying paced immigration. Like, we have a certain number of things or spots or whatever you want to call them, and when we fill those spots, that's it. And once some spots open up, others get in. It's not hard to, we didn't design the world the way it is, but we have to protect ourselves. That's just, any country would do that, I would think.
No, it's common sense. I think in the US they do this. They have per country quotas, whereas in Canada, I think we just have like unlimited quota. Come on, come all. If you have a pulse, get in.
Exactly.
I don't want to put words in the mouth of the candidate. These are the views of payment.
No. But I understand what you're saying.
Before. It wasn't like that initially. People came here and they had to work to make a living, and just
I've worked every day of my life. So
just got out of control.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we got a comment from first of all, with Tony L. Tarrant. That's not his actual name. He's a big PPC supporter. I've worked with him, so he says thank you for answering the call. Thank you to both of you. And Sacco Iris says PPC for me, so that's good to hear. And it's got a little purple heart there. Let me go over to Substack. Oh, sorry. Oh, your purple
Matches
tie.
my
Yeah.
tie.
Yeah. Um, what was the question? Okay, so I want to hit you with another question, sort of on policy. I'm from out here in BC, so this is really important for me since our illustrious Prime Minister just bailed this industry out. What are your
Yeah, I know.
views on housing, the housing crisis, Michelle, and how do you believe we should fix it?
I do think that the province should have first dibs on the quality of the housing and where it is. Okay, because they're closer to the ground, closer to municipalities. The federal should be just, well, as you just said, maybe not bailing out companies and what have you that have issues, but they should be oversight or overwatch or whatever you want to call it, just a safety net. We don't really, we're too, the federal government is too far away from the person sitting at the kitchen table having dinner to really be able to make a change for that person to feel it. So I think the provincial government should be pretty much on top of that, and their constituents should be keeping them in check. Like, this whole system needs to be, you have to have a review. I would expect, I mean, it's probably, I don't know whether it happens or not, but everything you do has to be checked and double checked, and that's the way it should be. And if there's a midterm or whatever they call it in the States, but maybe that's a way to go, because I need to be sure that I'm doing what my constituents want, and if I'm not, I'm voted out. That's simple. It's like I wouldn't hold it against them if I'm not doing my job. So as far as what happened in BC, the housing, there was a lot of underlying issues that weren't addressed, like, we'll go there if I have to, but say mortgage fraud and those types of things. Now, a lot of people got into the system and bought a lot of things that probably shouldn't have been able to get in at that point. And that's, to me, is, yes, the federal government has your first home buyers and what have you, and all those types of things, but those are for legitimate people that are trying to save money interest free or tax free to buy themselves a home, right? They want to make the interest, but they don't want to pay the tax, and they want to buy a home. Yeah, okay, well, that works for the federal government, but when it comes down to the banks and what have you, where is the accountability? Is that to us, to the federal? So we're looking after all of a sudden now we're looking after the banks, or is that a provincial level? This is the question. It's like, and the fact that I don't know who is specific to be. I'm not trying to put the blame on any one person or any entity, but the fact is there was a lot of mortgages that were made for those condominiums that were being built, so that the project would go through. And these people now can't afford to. There's like, the government's bailing them out in the sense that these people would go bankrupt if they didn't. If they didn't get the help from the government, they would go under. And now these empty buildings would sit there for how long? And so we've got to find some kind of, okay, in this case the government did what they did, fine, but there should have been flags all the way along there. There should have been warning signs. There should have been, this is starting to happen, what's going on here, let's look closer at what's going on, before it gets to the point where, oh my god, we're off the cliff. And that's what I mean by the right people in the right place. There's people that can see these things. There's, and they're not being put in those positions to monitor or whatever it is that we're talking about, right? That's just one example of things. And I don't know if do you agree with me on this, or like, I mean, do you understand where I'm coming from on that?
I do. I've been following, and I know what you're talking about. The mortgages, it's like a overheated market.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how the Liberals are going to do the right thing, given that if they do the right thing, they'll be shooting their own voter base.
Yeah, well, it's too late. We have to help. Like, sometimes there's a catastrophe that we've got to help, but we could have avoided it. A lot of things we could have avoided, but we don't have the options to avoid stuff at the moment, and that's why I'm running. It's like, well, somebody's got to do something, and I'm going to do it. And that, and I said to Andy, actually, yesterday, the day before, when we were walking around, I said, I don't want to think 20 years from now, maybe I should have run. no, I'm going to do this because now's the time. I've got the opportunity. I mean, I've spoken to Maxime. I'm just thrilled with the opportunity to be able to help people. So, I mean, that's why I'm running. And as far as what you're asking me about the BC thing, I think, yes, the federal government is right to step in because it's at that over the cliff point. But it should have never gotten to that point. We should have been able to recover that, 2 years ago, like right after COVID or whatever. We should have been looking at that going, no, this isn't going to end well. What are we going to do about this? Instead, they just let it ride, let it ride, let it ride, let it ride. And then the government had to step in because it's the right thing to do effectively. So, what's an ounce of prevention is a pound of cure. You know what I'm saying? It's like we should have been on that. That's where I see that. But again, you're in BC, so you can see it. I mean, they're all built. They're not finished, but they're built, right? Or they're probably getting finished now, but
No, it's a very well put answer. I don't know, Andy, how are you gonna follow up that great answer?
Well, yeah, I agree with Michel that there's a role for the federal government, but the role is not to pick and choose who's going to make profit and who's not. They should be setting the guidelines. And I'm aware of more in the building science where there's standards and codes. There's the Canadian building standards, but each province has their own Ontario building standards or in Ontario. But there's a lot of agencies that are helpful, like with NRCan, and doing the research, and they're actually known around the world. Canada's known for the cold climate, so we have a particular, the building envelope is very important here in Canada. You have, very hot summers sometimes and cold winters, and where do you put your vapor barrier and all these questions. So they have research in that area. If not doing the research there, at least supporting the provinces in the research they're doing at the different universities and all that. So I can see a position there, but it seems like what they're doing is just they're helping their friends, and that's a game that's been played, and those people who are in the game, they know they have their security blanket. So it's not a fair process out there. And I want to give an example of the energy. Anyways, this is, I think it's provincial, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think it's only in Ontario where there's a program where if you have an EV, you can get 10 cents a kilowatt hour paid. So who do you think is paying for that 10 cents a kilowatt hour, right? Okay, you think you're doing something good for the environment, but it's a small farmers who their prices for tilling their fields, their diesel for their tractors have gone through the roof. So it ends up costing you in food prices, and it doesn't make sense. It's a big waste, and some people are profiting and people in between. Like you might be getting 10 cents, but there's people in between also profiting. So there's all these games that are being played, and it's like crony capitalism, and the politicians are in it for themselves. I think like Michel was saying, we shouldn't even let it get to this, and it's getting to this because people know that they have someone to call. They've bought out some politician or whatever, and they're gonna have a safety blanket, so they're not going to lose, and they're going to get as much from the public as they can, and so it's we need some accountability. And when I was knocking on, I didn't just talking to people as I'm handing out the cards, that's the one thing everybody will not disagree, and they're feeling it. They're seeing that there's no accountability, that and that's why people are also giving up. And so that's why the PPC has to get their voice out to say, look, there are people, regular Canadians, who want to fix this, and they're thinking about their children and the future of Canada. Why don't you look into it, and maybe you can help out as well. So
and with my engineering background, For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. We can't make a decision without looking at what the impact is going to be. And I'm not talking about environmental impact reports or anything like that. I'm talking about, you make a decision and there's going to be a ripple effect. There's going to be a cause and effect. There's going to be something that happens due to that decision, and that's what we have to examine. That's what we have to investigate. That's what we have to talk to people about and get the feedback, because those people are going to say, well, what about my thing, or what about this, or what about, and you're going to go, never thought of that. So now it has to be put into the mix. This is what I think. There's such a barrier between the politics, what we're doing, and the people. And I believe that I should be able to walk down the street in any one of my constituents' house and say hi and just talk to find out where they are, what's happening. Because they know, like, once you get in, they should be able to come and talk to you. And that's what I believe. If you've got something you need to get out here, well, then I'm the guy to come and tell, and then I'll go and say it in Parliament, sort of thing. That's the whole point, right? But I feel like right now there is none of that. There's the image of that, but it's like the people are so isolated, and we'll call it the ivory tower or whatever. They're just not. I mean, I do see at what do you call it, when they have groups of people get together with their member of parliament and what have you, but
A powwow, schmooze.
yeah, well, we'll call it a powwow or whatever. You're going to have a rally or anything like that. Yeah, you get to talk to them there, but it's 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Nobody really talks. I mean, when I was walking around the streets the last few weeks, I was spending 5, 10, 15, some people 20 minutes talking about stuff that mattered to them. So I'm listening. That's the whole point. I'm supposed to listen. I've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so I should shut up and listen, right? And that's what I've been doing. I've been listening to what the people are saying and going, interesting. Okay. So it has to be, that information has to be brought into the mix of decision making. Otherwise, what is the point of all this? I'm just saying, let's put it right down to brass tacks, right? What's the point? If I can't do my job in sense of whatever they're wishing as constituents, to be able to go and relay that to the powers that be and come up with something reasonable, bring it back to them, back and forth, and then find something that'll work, and then make it work.
So
again, it's just it's not rocket science. It's just
no. I agree with you, Michel. We're almost at the end of the show, and I just had this thought while we're doing this. I want to do like a mock all candidates meeting. So how you go to these candidates meeting. You guys got 60 seconds. You're the candidate. You have to go first. The pressure's on you, and then Andy, you can let it percolate and come up with a perfect answer.
I don't know if this is the forum to say it, but we're supposed to have a debate on Wednesday, and because I don't hold a seat in Parliament, I'm not allowed to be on the stage at the debate.
Really?
I can be outside before, and I can be outside after, but I'm not allowed to participate. And I find
that's the dumbest thing. Yeah,
I find that and that's not. Now let's be careful here, because there's a lot of people involved and a lot of things going on, and a lot of things have happened, and whatever the history is and what have you. The thing is, it's not the government that's making that rule. And it's evolved, I would imagine, from over time, from things that have happened in the past. Now, I just don't think that's fair, because that gives the illusion that I chose not to be there. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't.
This makes my blood boil, because this is, I mean, it just proves that we have a uni party. And find out who the organizer is, because when I was running in University Rosedale, the Jewish Community Center, they had the debate. They invited everybody. The food bank, they had a debate. They invited everybody, and only myself and the NDP and the Green Party showed up at the food bank. And the Liberal and Conservatives sent someone, and they gave them the opportunity to read a written statement, but they didn't, the candidate wasn't there, and they didn't participate. At the JCC, the Liberal candidate was there, but the Conservative didn't show up. So it's they're just showing
this
they're
should
a
be
youth party.
mandatory.
They
You
can
should
work
show
among
up.
each
You
other.
got to show
Yeah.
up. Come on, like if you're
Well,
going to
there's
do
no excuse because there's not that many candidates. Like, how many are running? There's like 5
5,
people.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
so,
Actually, I heard today that Rebel News is running too, just to keep an extra, keep us honest. So that's good.
what's that?
No, it's all good. It's apparently they've gone in all 3 ridings. They have I can't remember what they called it, but they called it some strange like I don't know, some weird name. So in all 3 ridings in BC, Quebec, and East York, there's going to be the Rebel News Party, which they don't really want to be voted for, but they want to be at the debates. They want to be at the things to be able to get in. Because if that's how we got to do it, we got to do it, right? Because and I respect them for that. That's an interesting take. But again, see, these are the kind of things that the establishment has had to pit against in the last 10 years. Because everybody's trying to get in and they keep blocking. So now people like myself, I would like to think that I'm a Canadian citizen trying to make a difference. I've got no rights. I can't go, or I can't do it because of these type of things that have happened in the past. And I'm okay with that. It's like, there's going to be a time for change. And if I don't do it, somebody else will, but I'm going to do it now because the people seem to like me and I like doing what we're doing. So, and I know times.
Well, I saw it on the chat. I saw it on our chat there with the PPC but I couldn't believe it. So now you're telling me directly that you're not being invited to the debate. Definitely count me in to be there with you, and I'm going to bring as many people as possible to come talk to you because
you have
really
to. Apparently, it's sold out, and you have to register, and it's sold out. So it's like I'm just going to stand outside with a bunch of cards and talk to people that I know because I've met them already.
I can't believe it. That's disgrace.
That's okay.
All right.
We'll get there.
So to get this started, guys, remember the rules again. 60 seconds.
Okay.
Mr. Lachance, given the Trump tariff war, what will you do to help businesses in Canada?
I would focus on the Canadian entrepreneur and local businesses and look at what's important to Canadians as far as what we need as a country. If they're going to tariff and cause us to not be able to make products for them, well, then we'll make products for ourselves because charity begins at home. It begins in our backyard. It begins with us. We're going to be happy. We're going to make our own things. And if they look over the fence and they say, wow, we really want that thing, well, you're going to have to make some kind of concession. So to me, focusing on Canadian jobs, Canadian goods, Canadian work, industries, whatever you want to call it, bring it into Canada. That's what I think.
No, better answer than I could give. Andy?
I think Canadians are very competitive. They're very innovative, and we have the advantage of the lower dollar. So we can continue to sell our products there. It might be more expensive for them, but what I'm hearing out of the States is that their inflation is very low. They're not really seeing much inflation. So they're going to continue to buy our products. And it's just a matter of that our politicians have to learn how to talk, have to learn how to negotiate, not to, I think we've been a bit brainwashed on Trump and who he is and everything. And I'm not saying I'm not part of that, but he's the person who the Americans chose for the president. And we have to respect that. And, I have family in the U.S. and we get along well. I want to continue to visit them, and I think Canadians will continue to produce things, but we have to be reasonable and maybe start to think about the supply management stuff was actually on their list of pet peeves of Canada. So it doesn't mean that I'm gonna buy American milk or whatever. I'm going to look at what's most healthy for my family and what, compare everything, put everything at the same point. And price is one of the factors, but that's not everything. So I think we can compete with the States and we don't have to be, putting ourselves down. We have a lot of strong industry and technical in the nuclear power. We're leaders with our CANDU technology. So I'm good at passing a bit the timeline.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I think we should be negotiating and
It
working
was-
together, and we don't have anything to fear as long as our politicians are reasonable.
So the next question, we're going to go to Mr. Lachance again. Given the recent forest fires that were raging across Canada, what will a PPC government do to help us tackle climate change?
Well, I would like to. Well, you're addressing two separate issues there, but the fires that are going on there has been a lapse. I travel a lot around Ontario, and there has been what seems to me, because I'm not an expert in being an arborist or anything like that, but it seems to me that the fire breaks and cleaning up the grounds of the forest has been slack. We used to do that. That used to be part of part of the maintain and upkeep of our forests and everything, because fires spread through that crap that's on the ground. So if we, do controlled burns and, pile all that stuff up and burn it off, and, we don't have this lightning strike and a fire going crazy because there's all this kindling waiting for it, for it to go off. So to me, I think it's more of the ounce of prevention, pound of cure thing. We got to get back to taking care of, we're put here to look after the garden. We're here to make sure everything is better than when we got here. Like, leave it better than what you had it. So that's all I got to say is let's maintain and keep our country clean. And that's going to be a big step towards reducing the amount of fires we have every year.
Thank you very much. Andy?
Yeah, I agree with Michel. I mean, I think there's two sides of that story, and we only hear the one side about climate change. But we should not be like blaming everything and then not do anything about it. Like we've had some heavy rains and stuff like that, and a lot of homes had flooding. So you do something about it. Maybe we've built on floodplains where we shouldn't have and stuff like that, and so it's important to mitigate that, but not just blame climate change. Do something, and what we're doing of taxing people is not helping. Like Michel said, we're not maintaining our own forest, and I've heard people say that it's done on purpose. We don't have we make these amazing planes for battling forest fires, but we don't have a fleet of them. So we'd rather send the money to Ukraine or our foreign wars that are not our own. We should be taking care of our country and our back. I believe in BC they had the pine beetle issue, so we should be on that and take care of those, do something about that, and we're not. So the blame lays squarely in the federal negligence that has happened, and we can't just cop out and talk about climate change.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask another question, but before the audience hates me and I get hate mail, these are specifically difficult liberal questions. They're not necessarily things
I don't believe it.
but these are the questions that they're going to get. So the last question, Mr. Lachance, what will the PPC government do to help immigrants more easily come to Canada and settle? How will you help facilitate that immigration?
We need to make sure that there's a spot for them, that the path is clear, that they know what they're coming here for. I mean, if they're coming here to work, then why wouldn't we allow them to come in? Why wouldn't we help them? They're going to be a contributing force in our society. Why wouldn't we do that? Right now, it seems that everybody they're let in and they just go fend for themselves. Like they go to the welfare office, or they go to they're finding out word of mouth. It's not, I just don't see how we can keep up with the numbers that are coming in with not enough spaces. It's got to be when the space is available, you can come in. It's not hard. Like I said, when I went overseas to other countries, I had to kind of pass the muster test. I was there to work. I was there to do a job that they didn't have anybody to do, and I got the job, and I did the job, and it was fine, and everybody was happy, and it's a win-win situation. When they're coming across, we have to know where we're going to place them. Where are they going to work? How many people are coming with them? Like, all that has to be upfront. We're not trying to be into your own business or anything, but we got to know how we're going to handle you. So that this is the thing that I think has been most what's the word his resolve has been to reduce the number of immigrations, so we can actually offer immigrants a better life. With the numbers that are pouring in, we can't manage it. It's just, we're always on the back foot and digging ourselves out. So I think we just got to slow it down a little bit and take them as they come, one at a time.
Thank you, sir. Andy, you are the last candidate for the day. Go ahead. Well, the candidate-ish.
Well, I think you need to choose a party that's going to manage, not mismanage or just let things go, right? And that's what's been happening over the past, 15 years almost, where we're just there and letting things happen. And it's hard not to see that there are some people that are profiting from this. So, all those colleges that bring in as many students as they can, and some of them don't even show up, and they're not accountable to anybody, and they're making their coin. But then these people, the people who came to take these courses, are left in limbo and they stay in the country. So it's not really real immigration that's happening. It's illegal immigration, people who are just staying around. So we have to crack down on that, and also crack down on those who are in the country who are profiting from this. And I also blame politicians. You see, Max is the only one who won't pander to any community or that. He doesn't go there. He doesn't wear their garb and stuff like that. He's whereas the other parties, they're all doing that. I've seen it. I've campaigned here, and I see the little cards that they get by with the candidate who's in India by the Taj Mahal and dressed up in a certain way, and he's trying to appeal to that community, right? Why don't you just show yourself as a Canadian and appeal to them as a Canadian? So there's something wrong that's happening here. We feel we need to pander to every community just to buy their vote. And there's, I believe, a lot of, clandestine stuff that's happening. People who are profiting, businesses who are profiting from cheap labor that's coming in. And in the end, there are people who are here, Canadians, are not finding jobs. So, we would need to help the immigrants, like Michel was saying, have things set up for that, or have charitable organizations that'll take them on and give them a hand to get integrated, but none of this free flow and people coming in from all over the place. That has to be cracked down on.
So I wanted to thank both you gentlemen for coming on, but I will give the last word to Michel, since he is the candidate running. If you have a message for your constituents in your riding, or how they can get in touch with you, volunteer, or donate. Go ahead, sir.
Well, the message really for me is what I've always believed: there's a place for everything and everything in its place. We've got to work that way. We've got to have everything set up so that we know exactly how many of what's we have, and it's all transparent and everything is good. That's what I'd like to see. Again, I'm only one person in an ocean of Canadians. So, I'm going to do my best and try and be that person, right? As far as contacting us, I'm sure you can get to the PPC website and there's donations available there. And, my name's on there as well. We hand out flyers with a QR code. So you just scan it with your phone and it goes straight to my site, and you get to read about me and what we stand for, and our platform is there. So we invite everybody to come and talk to us and see what we stand for, and we've got books that we can give out with all of our platform policies. It's changed slightly. Like the one I have is 2025, was just last year, but it takes a while to print. So you can imagine it's not the newest one. 2026 is coming, and basically, you know, it addresses all the COVID things and all the different things that have happened, and you know how we feel about the things, and that message, as Andy was saying, has not changed from the beginning. And that's what I want. That's what a constant, something you can rely on. At least, you know, we're not going to change our position on something unless it's obviously proven to us that we have to do so. You know, nothing is carved in stone. So there we go. See, thank you. I appreciate that. So from there,
So you're on X. You're on X now. You started Michel Lachance _ So you'll find Michel on X. I don't know if you're running that or if someone else is, but I've seen you post it a bit.
Yeah, we're on X, Facebook, everything that you can think of. And yeah, that's a little blurb. And if you want to contact us, you can just put a little message in there and send us some information or a question or anything. You know, I'm happy to take the time and come and talk to you and find out what your needs are, you know, or if I'm not doing my job well. I mean, you know, I'm in the public now, so, you know, feel free.
So for the audience, this is Michel Lachance. He's running in Beaches, East York. And if you want to get involved in his campaign, go to peoplespartyofcanada.ca. Go to the candidate page and look for Michel Lachance. You can just type it in the search bar. His page is going to come up. If you want to get involved, there's a button right here, get involved. If you want to write him, ask him what his, you know, astrological sign is or what his favorite color is, you can do that too. And most importantly, you can donate. If you want change for Canada, if you want something different, if you're tired of the status quo and the uniparty, please consider donating to Mr. Lachance, and let's try to make a difference in Parliament. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on, and I wish the both of you the best of luck.
Thank you for having us. This has been wonderful. I knew it was a good show.
We try. Bye, Andy. Bye, Michelle.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you on the road.